Good morning. Um, New name, new year. A Ronin is a warrior, samurai warrior, who has no shogun, who has no leader. He's unemployed. and sometimes they work as mercenaries, sometimes they take other jobs, but they no longer have the, uh, the status and the protection of an employer. And that's kind of what I am. Don't worry, I'm not missing any meals. And I have definitely got things to do. But I don't work for the university anymore, which means a couple things. It means that I have 30 some people, most of whom are my former students who still follow this channel. And it also means that I'm a little more free to say things at the cost or without risking the cost of bringing unhappy university personnel down on my poor innocent head. So, not going to do a lot. Basically, I'm going to limit these things to about 10 minutes, but I will get on occasionally. Today is January 6th. Today is the day, I believe, that we find out if our country continues its descent into a post-constitutional society, and whether we are able to maintain a constitutional republic, which has been disappearing for a long time, or if this steepens the descent of the fall of the American empire. And we are an empire. Um, Historically, empires only last about 250 years. We're within a couple of years of that right now, depending on where you start the clock. And it comes time. You know, what's going to happen regarding our new leaders and regarding their enablers who claim to be in the opposition party, but really, I don't know. I'm not going to get that far into it because, again, I'm limiting myself to under 10 minutes. But the fact of the matter is, if the current Biden-Harris administration, as elected, well, as declared elected, I have serious doubts whether they won the election. That's one thing I wouldn't have been able to say if I were still on the university campus. If they keep even some of the campaign promises that they have made, then with the stroke of an executive pen, I and many of my friends and relatives will become criminals because of property that we legally purchased and statements that we have publicly made. I kicked Instagram to the curb. I kicked Facebook to the curb. I have a online presence through my business, through MeWe, and I'm here. Why am I here? I'm here because I have students, former students, current students, depending on how you look at it, who may think that I have something to offer outside of the university world. So that's where I'm coming from right now. What I want to talk about is, given the situation, you know, people, oh, this is going bad and this is going to crap, and you know, we've as a country, half of the country chose a guy in the ending stages of some sort of mental decline, and the most left-leaning senator in the United States Senate as our leaders. And everybody I've talked to, including people that I love and care about, have best they've been able to give me is because Trump is mean. Not interested in lowest unemployment for blacks, Hispanics, and women in history. Lowest unemployment in 50 years. Booming economy prior to the plandemic, which I believe was part of the plan to crash the economy and get rid of Trump. We have a 99.96% survival rate, and we're all supposed to wear masks and be afraid, because people who are afraid will give up just about anything in order to be made to feel safe again. So what are we going to do? Plan and train and prepare to be independent of the people who wish to rule you. Now, I realize that that's difficult to do. The fact that I'm using an internet platform to talk to you right now says that I am definitely not independent of that. However, now that I'm not working for a government entity, I will not take a job where I'm required to wear a mask. Therefore, my job is going to be to produce food and make my homestead with my wife and at some point my children and grandchildren independent of, as much as possible, of grocery stores, and to be able to live, not only survive, but live comfortably for extended periods of grid down, because I believe infrastructure is one of the next steps that will occur. There will be attacks to our power grid. There'll be attacks to our distribution grid. Those trucks that come to Walmart every single day, if they stop rolling, was it Reagan that said we're 5 meals away from anarchy, where people start to get scared? People who would never do certain things in order to feed themselves and their families will now do that. And then, of course, you have the sociopaths who will see that as a real-life reenactment of the Purge movies. As I've said to my students, have a place to go. Have a place to go, have a place to settle in and stay out of the fray. The best way to survive a gunfight, according to Wyatt Earp, is not to be there when it happens. The best way to survive a riot is not to be there when it happens. Don't go there. Use your situational understanding, which means paying attention to what's happening in the world as it applies to you. I would be a lot less worried about things that are happening 1,000 miles away than things that are happening 1,000 yards away. So I focus on that. Are my vehicles topped up in gasoline? Are they well maintained? Do I have a means of communicating with my mutual assistance group if the cell towers go down? The answer to those questions is yes to both of those. Do I have enough food to get by without having to go to the grocery store for an extended period of time? The answer is yes. Are you invited to come to my house? The answer is no. Through Eagle's Wing, I'm no longer teaching public classes because I'm much more concerned about who I allow on my property, my home, where my range is. I may start teaching concealed carry classes again. I will be reevaluating after February 1st, after I see how the next few weeks shake loose. But that's where I'm sitting right now. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I have a warm house and a full refrigerator, and a wife and cats who love me. And I've got some good friends. And that's where I'm at. So I advise you to find people and gather your people and separate the talkers from the doers and say, all right, maybe life is going to suck. What are we going to do about that? Understand too that you are, a lot of people think, well, by do, he means we're going to put on plate carriers and put on rifles. You are far less likely to have to shoot somebody than you are likely to have to eat. So focus on your food, focus on your meds, focus on your power, focus on your heat. And defense is a part of basically just being a responsible person. But understand that that is just a part of it. So maybe instead of trying to buy that 4th AR rifle, maybe you want to spend some time getting some training with the rifle that you already have, or learning. Are you certified in CPR? Should be. Are you certified? Do you know how to run an AED? Do you know how to stop the bleed, to run a tourniquet, to provide basic first aid? Are you physically fit? How are your teeth? Those are things that you need to be worrying about right now, and let Washington worry about itself for now. So take care, stay safe, love you all, and I will talk to you next time, probably in a week or so.